Welcome, everybody. It is another edition, another episode of X-Men Collector Chat. And tonight, my co-host, Dan from Dan's X-Men Comics, and I, the Colossus Collector, are proud to have on Hayden, the Next Gen Collector. You can find Hayden on YouTube here, the Next Gen Collector, also on Instagram at Next Generation Collector, right?
Yeah.
Always trips me up when it's not the same as YouTube, but I remembered that. Hayden, thanks for coming on, man. How you doing?
Of course. Super appreciate it. Very happy. Been thinking about it all day. I even went out on a hunt today just to get my X fix in, to dug through a few Uncanny X-Men short boxes to get the mindset. So I'm ready to go.
That's what we like to hear.
Dan, how you doing?
Doing great. Just
good.
Finished the week of work and just, looking forward to a nice long weekend and, let's have at it, baby. Looking to meet Hayden and, first time us chatting, outside of Instagram and YouTube. So super stoked to have you on, bro.
It's always great to have somebody new on the channel. Hayden, of course, we were just talking about, we've been on Mon Comics together, but that's like a bigger group. It's more Brandon kind of like giving you your time to show stuff, and it's not really a lot of talking. So I'm glad we can chat tonight and get to the bottom of your X-Men fandom and see what that's all about. So to kick things off, why don't you tell us kind of how you became a fan of X-Men, where it kind of all starts, origin story style.
Let's make him big on this, right? Let's make him big.
All right.
Yeah.
Give me
monologue time.
Well, I'm no Magneto, but I'll give it my best shot. All right.
Very nice.
All right. So in the beginning, I'm just kidding. All right. So I guess we should rip the Band-Aid off, right?
Biblical.
Yeah. So I was born in the year 2000. So I obviously will have a different entry point into Marvel Comics, X-Men, everything than a lot of people in the collecting space of comic books. So upon that time, I actually looked back, and the first movie I would have been conscious, sentient, not like infant, movie that came out would have been X-Men Origins Wolverine, which kind of gatewayed my fandom to kind of Wolverine being my favorite X-Men. So my first team movie that I actually saw was X-Men First Class, which I know you guys are probably like, that's crazy to think about that's the first one, but it was. So seeing all those movies is through my entire process of growing up. And then a lot of other media. I was a big video game guy in middle school, high school time frame. So I know one specifically that I loved playing was Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which had characters all across the Marvel universe, a bunch of different X-Men, Wolverine, Iceman. I think were a few that I were drawn to play as. And then I just remember specifically what really got me hooked in was there's an animated special called Hulk Versus. There's one that's a Hulk versus Thor, but then there's one that's Hulk versus Wolverine. And it's amazing. If you guys have not seen it, I would highly recommend. It's like maybe 30 minutes. But that whole special, it introduces characters like, to me at least, Deadpool for the first time, Sabretooth, Omega Red, I think Lady Deathstrike maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't seen it in a while. But seeing all these characters for the first time, I mean, it was kind of like mind-blowing to me. But yeah, and then a big other thing, just growing up in the, early 2000s to late 2000s, YouTube became a thing. I think like 2005 is when YouTube started. So I grew up my entire life with YouTube. In a big YouTube channel that actually like pumped in all the comic knowledge into my brain was actually Comics Explained. A lot of his videos, he's a big fan of X-Men. So he made a lot of X-Men videos, and I would just engulf all of it. Even though I didn't read comic books at that time when I was young, just getting in all that knowledge, storylines, made me seem like an expert to all my friends that had no idea what was going on. So that was a huge part of that. I would eventually, fall out of comics once, puberty hits and you start liking girls and stuff like that. But
it was all this time.
Yeah.
Why do we all live the same lives?
Yeah,
It's really
no matter
we're all-
the
we're all-
time frame either.
We're all on a big loop.
But once college comes around, there's the little tidbits here and there where I would get back into comic books. Obviously, I still love the movies, but going that extra mile and looking up the stories and everything. I remember one time a big group of my college friends, we found this used bookstore that had odds and ends from CDs to video game consoles to comic books to actual used books. And we found our way up to the comics section. It's on the second level. And all of us were just picking out comic books. We had no idea what was going on. I'm like, you know what? It'll be cool to throw up some comic books on my wall. I'll get a bunch of them. I'll spell a letter H and put it in my room. Chicks will definitely think that's super cool, right? Luckily at the time I had a girlfriend, so I didn't have to worry about that. But then kind of fell off a little bit. And then once I graduated college, I just remember sitting down on my couch around Christmas time. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to start collecting something. And then I first started with Funko Pops. And then once I realized, I'm like, you know what? There's not a whole lot of function to this. And then I went down the comic book rabbit hole. And once I went down that rabbit hole, I started revisiting everything. My love for Wolverine, got back into looking at everybody else. Found my new love of my life, Rogue. Got to go down that rabbit hole and all of her odds and ends. So, and that kind of leads me where we are today. X-Men 97 really got me really even deeper down the rabbit hole again. Went down head first. Went through all the, scrolling through Key Collector. Got to learn all the keys. Got to boost up my knowledge. And find out characters I've never even seen before, all the books that, characters appear in that aren't even in the mainline series. So, and that's kind of where I am today with a big stack of books. I can't stop buying X-Men books. But yeah, that's, where we are from.
Love it.
At present.
It can be overwhelming, doing the Key Collector, like looking at all the keys, learning about new characters,
Yeah, that's why I feel like a lot of people I've talked around my age, comic book wise, they feel like X-Men does have a high, I don't want to say like barrier to entry, but it's hard to find a jumping off point that isn't, just, all right, start Giant Size X-Men and go read 300 issues, like kind of thing.
Which is what I'm doing.
Right.
No, but I mean, like that's a great origin. I mean, it's not too dissimilar from even guys of our vintage were maybe like 10 years older, but like the media, whether it's animation or movies, is a big thing for people to get into X-Men, get into a lot of things, but definitely in X-Men, that's pretty often what you hear, how people sort of got into it. Just want to, before we keep going, say hi to a few friends in the chat. We've got Bruce from Up North Comics.
Oh, boy.
Going on. He says, welcome to the club, Hayden. Of course, he's referring to the Council of X, which you are now officially going to be a part of. Our friend from Finland's tuning in.
Oh, killer.
Awesome animation. And yes, Lady Death is on it. And hi to everyone. And that he's referring to that one that you were check that out. What's that called again, Hayden?
So it's called Hulk Versus. It's just funny that I downloaded it like so many years ago on my iPod Touch, and then I went into my iTunes account recently and I saw that it was still in there. So I saw the whole thing. But yeah, it's called the Hulk Versus. I think it like has to come in that dual format now, but I think you can probably find it on YouTube at this point. I mean, it's pretty old.
Yeah, I'll definitely look for it. And then we also got Mike from Lunch Money Comics. What's going on? Another
Mike, always
council member. Thanks for coming in and watching, Mike.
Judging Hayden to make sure that he's fits the bill.
Council's interested to get to know their new recruit. So I wanted to ask. So you say you're picking up tons of X-Men books. What's kind of like, what are you picking up? What are you collecting X-Men wise? And like, what's sort of your goals right now in terms of what you want to get, where you want to go with your X-Men collection?
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff that I initially picked up was actually Jim Lee related books. He's slowly I mean, I guess not slowly, very rapidly becoming my favorite artist this period. Because I mean, he's done great work across all different, you know, series.
Yeah.
So I've been picking up a lot of the Jim Lee kind of covers that he's done, Wolverine-esque related books because he's my favorite. And then I've been kind of picking the first appearances. I try to not be a run collector because it just kind of gets to the point where I'm just getting a handful of filler books. I'm like, dang, I really could have just bought like the first appearance of so and so. So I've been really working off that. But my next book that I know for sure, I've got one picked out. It's got to wait for the transaction money to come through for me selling off a bunch of my books. It's gonna be X-Men '94. Found a low grade copy that I'm thinking I'm gonna get. I think it's like a 3.5 maybe. So that's definitely my next one that I'm gonna be going for.
Sorry, what was that?
94.
94. Nice. That's a great book. Great book to get. So Jim Lee and just kind of Wolverine keys and different keys and that sort of thing.
First appearances of all the characters and everything. And then of course, if a cover draws me in, I'm gonna get the cool cover. Like
hell
everybody.
Yeah.
So
yeah. You had mentioned that that you're making sure to avoid the run collection. So this was something that I always try to do. Tell me if you have an issue with this though. When you have like, let's say, 136, 137, 139, 140, and then on, do you feel that pull to pick up that issue to fill in that gap?
Oh, I mean, 100%. Like that feeling going through, any sort of box and just having one after the other and then having a gap or whatever. I mean, it irks. I mean, I don't think there's a collector out there that doesn't irk. But it's also one of those things where I'm in the back of my mind, I'm keeping conscious of space. And I'm like, if I just start collecting another run and then another run, I'm like, I only can fit so many short boxes in this room that I have here. So that's why that's the reason I like to justify is that space wise, I'll have to let go of something else if I want to just start filling in filling in the run. So,
well, as a comic collector, we have to justify every time. So that's very smart of you.
Space is definitely, I think, one of the biggest factors when it comes to people who maybe would collect runs, but they have to keep that in mind. Do I have the space for this? Can I store this? I'm a run collector, but like I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place. Like I really like keys.
You do everything.
The most important thing, but I do like there's certain runs I'm trying to get, and I could see myself in the future once I kind of get those runs done, moving into other runs that I like. Like I like FF. I could see myself wanting to do an Avengers run. This is all like in the future, but my main run is obviously X-Men 1 to 300. I'm starting to think about going all the way. I'm talking to Josh with Sasquatch Comics. I'm talking to Eric Scott. Like,
what up, Eric? By the way,
there he is. Speak of the devil. What's going on, Eric? So like I'm starting to like, oh, maybe I should just collect the whole run of X-Men, but that's a slippery slope. We'll see where I get to once I'm done 1 to 300.
I will say this: whenever we're collecting runs, though, it makes whenever you're hunting out in the wild, it makes it a lot more enjoyable because you're always more likely to just find that one issue. It could be a bunch of nothing, but you find that one issue that you can plug into the run and makes the whole experience worth it. So I'll admit that is a big benefit. Then
always something to hunt for, and it doesn't have to break the bank, which is awesome about run collecting. And the cool thing is, so like the X-Men run I'm collecting is like that's a 1 to 300 is a pretty hefty run, but I'm collecting then Submariner and I'm collecting Warlock runs, and the Warlock thing is like really short, and then Submariner is like 70 something odd comics, so they're really not like that long. Submariner will fill a short box. I don't even think the Warlock will fill a short box. So they're manageable. Is
Yeah.
what I'm
That's
trying.
your rationalization to
Yeah.
flex that
Just-
run.
There's always more ways to make it rational than there is to try to hold yourself back. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, I can think of many. Yeah.
All right, so I was going to ask you what your favorite character was. You have already alluded to Wolverine being your favorite character. You talked about movies. What movies have you seen in the X-Men world? I'm guessing.
I've seen them all. I've gone back and rewatched them all.
Okay, so you've seen them all. So then, what is your favorite X-Men movie that's been made?
Well, my favorite just as a whole movie.
And I'll say this: you can include adjacent like Deadpool's and stuff like that, or Wolverine.
Gotcha.
Whatever. Yeah,
I would say not my favorite. Like I have other movies I have favorite scenes from, but I think my favorite movie just from all the way is got to be Logan. I just remember the experience of seeing that with my dad, and we were like looking at each other because I mean my first movie I saw was Wolverine, you know, the Origins one, and then just going through that experience of us looking at each other back and we're like, what in the world is going on? So that was probably my favorite like movie, but I guess like X-Team related, I think my favorite's probably got to be First Class, because I think for the general public, there's a lot of characters in that movie that a lot of people didn't know, and it was a kind of a cool starting off point, you know, a new launching point for a lot of people. It's very digestible by itself. That's one of the movies that I actually rewatch more times than not. But in favorite scene, I mean, it's got to go X2 with Nightcrawler. I mean,
yeah, we talk about that one all the time, man.
I mean,
I say it all the time.
Scene.
That's my favorite. I think my favorite action scene in a superhero movie or a Marvel movie, like period, like across MCU and stuff. So like I hold that in high esteem.
For sure.
Yeah, First Class is a good movie. It was well received. The only thing that irks me about First Class is why couldn't they have done the First Class, like the real First Class? You know, like they had Beast, but if they could have done Jean, Cyclops, and Angel and Beast as a first team, that would have been awesome. I don't know why they like decided to go with like Darwin and Banshee and Firefly. Like it's just
is actually my biggest gripe with the movie is what they did with Darwin. So he's one of those characters that I just love just because he's named after Charles Darwin, the father of like evolution. So I mean he's kind of the nail on the head mutant in his abilities is to mutate. But I mean his only reason to be in the movie is to die. Like, that is crazy to me that his entire premise is to be able to evolve to survive. And from my understanding in the comic books, there's, like, no ever, like, explanation of, like, what the limit to that is. So I just thought it was, like, wild that they threw him in there and he just kind of, like, dies like that. I think that was absolutely, like, blew my mind. I was like, why would they do that with him?
Well, I guess that's why they threw him into the movie, right? Mike says that he's the one mutant that can't really die, which is
Was it
but like they threw him in to kill him, right? Like that's why he's in the movie.
Yeah. Like it's like, oh, we got to give this guy some, why should we be afraid of this villain moment? And like, oh, okay, he killed the unkillable guy. I'm like, oh.
They gave him the morph treatment from the first animated episode.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And then yes, what did they do? What did they do? All right, so Dan, what's your favorite movie? I don't know if I've ever asked you what your favorite X-Men movie is.
Thank you for asking.
The topic,
to be honest, like, I mean, the thing is, I'm not that much of a movie guy.
I know. That's why I'm asking if there's one that
just based on like the feeling I got and anticipation and just being at the movie theater, and it was X2, and it was, I think that you could probably cue the exact hype that I had for all the movies at the scene that you described with Nightcrawler in the Oval Office, right? Or what, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
And because because it was X1. That was when I got back into comic collecting after I watched the first movie in 2001 or something like that. And so that really kicked it off. And then I didn't really watch, kind of fell off again around the third movie. And, I've seen them now, but, I'm not like, so don't ask me, right? I'm not about the
Dan,
movie.
did you ever watch Deadpool 2?
I did.
Okay.
I appreciate the pressure because I watched it and I did really enjoy it. So, and now I'm like more hyped than ever, like about the third movie. Like, it's so fun to anticipate a movie again. It's been a long time. So
for me, I love Days of Future Past.
Oh yeah.
I just liked it, even though it's not the same as the comics. And it could have been, if they did it like that, it would have been awesome. But I just did really like how they like blended the two, the new team with the old team, and it felt really good that way. And then the other one I love is Deadpool 2 because I got Juggernaut versus Colossus.
Oh yeah.
Love that.
And Travis shouts you at Comics Limited, mentions the Days of Future Past right there too, right?
Yeah.
I just love the fact that they put that to a film. Like, they're like, hey, we got Hugh Jackman. I had a huge crush on Hugh Jackman, like, after the first X-Men movie, like, blew me away. And so after that, like, they put him, they add Days of Future Past. I just love the idea of doing that.
See, it's funny. Mike says Quicksilver is too fast. That's a fun topic too, because there was Quicksilver in the MCU and Quicksilver in Days of Future Past. They kind of were right around the same time. And so people are like, which one do you like better? A lot of people like the X-Men one better because of the cool scenes that they
that
put
awesome
in.
Scene. Yeah.
But that was like probably too fast. Like he's basically stopping time.
Yeah, that's right.
And
I think that scene ruined speedsters in movies for every year after. Because every single time now there's a speedster on screen. It's always slow motion now.
Yeah.
I think the only other time I've seen it where it's not slow motion, funny enough, was Eternals. I think that's probably the best speedster.
That was really good. Quite a
I
good
thought
scene,
if they do any other speedsters in the future, it needs to be exactly how they did in Eternals. That was so cool. Probably the only cool thing in that movie, but
that was really, really well done. I liked the Quicksilver in MCU better. To what Mike was saying, it's just it's a little bit more comic accurate in terms of abilities. I liked the actor better. Like, I felt like the actor in the X-Men was like kind of goofy, and that's kind of goes par for the course with Fox and X-Men. Like, some of the castings were pretty like.
I think the guy who played him had just I saw him on like American Horror Story or something, like in the first season of American Horror Story. So he played this other character first, and that was, when you see an actor in something else, then you see them in another movie. Like, sometimes you can't shake that. And
what I didn't like about Quicksilver in the MCU is like, you could tell he dyed his hair, but like, he's got his roots, and like, I don't know why they didn't just like commit. Why don't you just commit, man? Like, I don't know. Maybe it looked bad when they did it and they went to this like grade look, but I don't know. You could just tell like he was like a brunette with like some white highlight streaks in his hair. I just wish they would have like committed a little bit harder to the gray hair. But then I didn't really love it in Days of Future Past because it looks like, I don't know, maybe it's the hairstyle, but like the way they did his hair was kind of goofy too. So I don't know.
Hair and makeup critiques, I love it.
Yeah, I'm picky. I'm picky, but then I'm not picky. Like,
I get it. You love it.
I love the movies, but then I can get nitpicky about characters and stuff.
Well, because you love the characters and the team so much that you want justice done.
And I'm just hopeful. I just want the MCU to do something really good with the X-Men now, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
The whole council's here tonight. It's like,
love you guys.
They're all coming out for Hayden's first foray into X-Men.
Initiation.
I love it. Thanks for stopping in, John. So
For sure.
Those are kind of those are my two favorite movies. And what Ryan?
Right, John. Right.
Nitpicky? No, never. So I won't. In terms of, so we've covered movies, but let's get into back into comics. Are you reading X-Men at all? Like what's some of the stuff you've potentially read or want to read? Where are you kind of at with the reading side of things?
Or just story arc,
So I have
you mentioned that you listen to the podcasts and
Yeah, so I mean I have a very general knowledge of, or very vague general knowledge of kind of everything that the kind of X-Men have done. Like House of X and everything with Wanda and then the 8 Krakoa and kind of like very vague of everything.
Yeah, I get it. I'm kind of layer 2 in terms of like the newer stuff, right? Because I haven't read all the newer stuff, but I have a general knowledge from YouTube and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I am, kind of across the board. I'm so backlogged on my reading right now that I got my slot in there coming up where I'm just going to start from Giants X X-Men and just every week just chunk out it little by little, and kind of just go from there, because I've toyed with, I have every now and again just kind of pick up an X-Men issue, read through it, but then there's so many points when you just do this where you're like, yeah, I have no clue like why these characters are doing this thing. So that's kind of like where I'm just keep going back. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna have to start from the beginning and just go through just the way it was intended. So that's kind of my goal here shortly, once I catch up on the few stacks of books I have to read through first.
And so do you read, or are you planning to read like straight from comics, or do you do the iPad or the Marvel Unlimited? Like what's your kind of game plan in terms of how you're going to read?
So my go-to method has always just been trade paperbacks,
right?
Collected editions, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know with this upcoming, endeavor into the entire X-Men run, I'm probably going to cave and get the Marvel Unlimited app. I have an iPad. My entire purpose of getting this iPad was one, to do like digital art and thumbnail, like that sort of side of things. And I'm like, all right, that, and I'm going to get, all the stuff that I don't want to pay however many dollars just to get a few issues. I'll just get all of them and read big runs that way. So that's my go-to plan. We'll see if it happens that way, because my brain is so like messed up to where if I think like, all right, if I buy a bunch of trade paperbacks, once I buy a bunch of them, my brain's like, if I just read these online on the Marvel Unlimited app, I could have bought this big key instead.
That's a good point.
So John's mentioning by the omnibus,
which is what I did. Yeah, that's a great.
Everybody's got their flavor.
Yeah, I have the entire it's funny, when my first year collecting, I was like, okay, I'm gonna collect, but I'm gonna read out of Omnis. Like that was kind of my whole thing, and I bought so many Omnis. I have like a whole shelf of Omnis back there. Obviously, X-Men was huge. I've got most of the X-Men up until Onslaught. I don't have Age of Apocalypse because it was out of print and it hasn't come back into print. And then I even have House of M, and I'm probably gonna get House of X, Powers of X, all that stuff when it gets more into an omnibus format. But I love reading it. But it's really kind of like Omnis are at home reading, right? Like you can't.
Yeah, that's another part.
You can't take it on the go, or
Dude, I can barely take it to the couch. I'm not strong.
I'm in bed. I like sit in bed and I like just have it like propped up on my chest. It's clunky, but I love the oversized format, and it's still
looks beautiful.
It's still reading out of a tangible book, which I love, and so that's what I like about it, about having, and they look great on a shelf. So I love all it.
Trades is my favorite way to just like pick it up and read it, but that's strictly like reading. Like the collection factor isn't as great, and takes up space.
I have some trades, like I read, like actually before I even started collecting, I read Infinity Gauntlet. I have the trade of that, and I just picked up the Rise of the Midnight Suns, the Spirits of Vengeance trade which I'm looking forward to reading as well.
Cool.
But
Oh yeah.
generally I like omnis, but I also have the unlimited, which is super convenient. Like that's where I get, like, when I do the Pages of X for the Council of X streams, I take my iPad and I find pages and I just screen cap them with my iPad, and
Oh, nice.
kind of get like pretty decent size images for doing those.
Oh, and you can use that in like your YouTube and
Well, I take the screen grabs, and then I like I do all the things I do with the pages on
convenient
segment. Yeah, so
nice.
it's great because it's easy to find a book there, right? Like you just find the book, scroll to the page, screen grab, rather than trying to find it on Google Images or something like that. It's like really handy for my page and stuff. And then yeah, I like, that's what I'll take if I travel. Like I read House of X and Powers of X, the start of the Krakoa era, all on there. The only thing is it's kind of hard to track. Like what I wish that app had was like a House of X or a Krakoa era, just complete reading list, and you could like it's all in the order that you're supposed to, and like you could decide what issues maybe you want to skip and stuff, but it's all in order and stuff. Whereas in the books, they have at the end of the House of X books or the Krakoa era books, they kind of have like these reading orders at the end of the books, but it's like,
oh yeah.
When you're in the app, you got to like, okay, so where do I have to go now? Oh, I got to go to Excalibur, and then you got to go search for Excalibur, and then like go down that list and pick that issue, and then now I got to go over to the X-Men one, and it's just like it's kind of confusing. And if you like leave it for a while and then come back to it like 6 months later, like I did, you have no idea where you left off, and like it's a whole thing. So
I bet. And Christopher makes a great point right here.
Yeah.
Christopher Parker here in the chat. That's why I am stuck in this era, baby. I am just living here, planting the flag, because
it's not a bad place.
My bandwidth.
Oh, I also have a question for the comments here. I've seen some talks just here and there, because another method that I'm thinking about going down, I got to do some more research, is the good old, what our taxes pay for here in America, libraries. I've heard that if a library does not have a book that you're looking for, and that includes graphic novels, anything, that they will go out of their way to order it and get it in stock or something. I'm no library expert. My girlfriend has a library card. I do not. But I'm thinking about getting one if that is a thing, because, I mean, if the library is going to order just a bunch of omnis, then that would be the way to go.
Great
idea. Never thought about omnibus.
So if anyone in the chat is a library card owner and gets their comic books there, I would
very smart.
I think Brandon on Mon Comics, he mentioned that he read the first few issues of Something Killing the Children or something at the library.
That's true.
So,
that is what he said. Yeah. That makes for a great video, actually. For your channel or someone else's channel, like to go to the library and see what you could find to take out of the library.
Definitely a lot of surprising good things to read at the library.
He says he's all in for the new series. I'm assuming you're talking about the Krakoa X-Men relaunch. My thinking is this might be the first time ever I'm going to go to my local LCS and start a pull list, and I might start reading it straight from the start.
I've been burned so many times. I'm scared to do it.
That's how I am.
I got to do it. I got to do it at least once, right?
Yeah. Do it. You should.
Travis,
get a pull list. You've never had a pull list at a comic shop?
Sorry?
You've never had a pull list at a comic shop before?
I've never done it. So
you gotta go. You gotta try it.
You gotta give it a go.
I had an experience with my pull list where because they had my card on file, and I would only come in every couple weeks, and they would just be pulling, like, oh, he's subscribed to the Amazing Spider-Man run. Let me just pull all these variant covers and then charge them to his card. I was like, what is going on?
Did they for real charge your card and add them?
If you go over, I think this shop, I didn't know this, but it got I mean, it makes sense from a business standpoint if you think logically. If somebody doesn't show up for however many weeks and they have a big stack of books, you keep ordering for them. I guess it makes sense to start charging. But it's one of those things where I show up and I get my stack of books. I'm like, why do I have the cover C of this random like mini series that is just tied to it? I was like, what in the world is going on? Luckily, I finally got out of that, but
it's got to be awkward to be like, I actually don't want this, you know?
I know, because they always like, it's so funny that every time they would hand me the books and I'd get them, I'm like, all right, you ready to check out? I'm like, well, can you take these back? Because I'm always feeling like, do they think this is on my pull list? Like,
and then you feel kind of rushed, and then
I know. And then I feel there's so many times where I was guilty. I was like, oh, I guess
I've had I've had a good place that was like, you establish a relationship when you create a pull list at a comic shop, and it's a great relationship, and you get to, you get a lot more insight, and they, pull exactly what you order and nothing more. They may save some and be like, hey, are you interested in this? But and then I've had not like you had it, but I've had the high pressure situations though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like with this new series coming out. I don't think I'm not gonna like get all the titles. Like I want to get Uncanny, which I believe is the team with like a lot of the classic members, like Wolverine's I think leading it, or Rogue, but it's like Wolverine, Rogue, Gambit. There's a couple other, I can't remember. And then there's X-Men, and X-Men's got Cyclops and Beast and Magneto and Juggernaut. Seems like a kind of a cool team. Those two for sure. I don't think I'm gonna get the other one with Kitty, and it's a bunch of new characters. I don't know if unless it's like I'm not understanding what's going on without getting that. And then I don't know. Then there's the Wolverine series. There's a couple other ones but those two X titles I definitely want to jump into, and we'll see where things.
So much.
But yeah, Pullis can get out of hand quick. Set a limit. Yeah, that's what I'm definitely going to do. And I'm not about the variants at all. For me, it's just I want to read these books. So I just like the odd time I'll see a variant and I'll go and get a variant, but not very often. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, the killer is the killer part of a lot of new books is it kills me because I mean, most of the time I'm behind on my reading anyway. And as I was, pulling books, I go to pick up my order, and then I show up a week later. I go, or however many weeks later after picking them up, and I see them in the dollar bin. I'm like, I haven't even read it yet.
Yeah,
it's $1 now. That's
when you quit the pull list.
Oh, what am I doing?
Pretty Girls or Colossus variants, and Travis is. I mean, I don't go crazy on the girl covers. Like I have a handful of nice X-Men girl covers, but I'm not even that. I'm not really chasing, but the Colossus ones for sure. That recent Fall of X Colossus book that I forget I think it's Mercado variant. So nice. Can't wait to get that off to CGC at some point, but I'm not in a rush for CGC. I'm waiting on and then that Illyana book. Yeah, but I don't have the variant. I have just like the regular I don't have the Virgin variant, sorry. That is a very good cover as well though. Lowell says out of all the X titles, X-Men and Uncanny X-Men are usually a safe bet. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. But I'm super curious because I have no idea where Colossus is in all this upcoming. And I've mentioned this, like I comment on so many things on IG, but where's Colossus? Like he's not on any. He hasn't been shown in any of the promo materials. Like I don't know if they're shelving him or if he's gonna like come along later, or I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, it doesn't look like he's got any kind of prominent roles. Although I did hear or did see, so Jonathan Hickman's doing a Wolverine miniseries with Greg Capullo on the art, and I heard that Colossus has got like a pretty important supporting role in that book. So I will probably be checking that series out too. But that's I believe a limited series.
Never given him the justice he's deserved.
When is he coming, Bruce? When is he coming? And Travis says he's ruling Russia. Maybe.
Well, something that's pretty cool about, like, I mean, he was in the start of the Jim Lee run, and on Adjectiveless X-Men, and he was like, pretty prominent in Dave Cockrum and John Burns. Like toward at the beginning, the origin of each of those series, and just live here with me, man. Just stay over here. It's nice. It's safe. You don't have to worry about dying or anything.
And I like to expand my my X-Men knowledge, man. I have a show called The Council of X. I need to be up to speed on things,
Okay.
Dan, it's okay. You I'm not going to leave you behind. I'm still very much. I'm 1 foot in the old and 1 foot in the new.
You will never let me down, Ryan. You'll never. I'm just locked down in the sewers.
I'm just Ilyana Rasputin jumping from limbo to the regular world. Back.
I appreciate the visits every time I'm in.
All right. So Hayden, I don't know if John from John's Comics with Kids is on, or Justin anymore. They have a great show that just ended their 4th season of Omni X-Men, and they do alternating episodes on their 2 channels. They basically cover an X-Men omnibus every season. They've done 4 X-Men omnibuses, Uncanny, basically giant size, to the end of Omnibus 4, which is roughly getting into the 200 or almost to the 200s. But now then their next season is going to be the one omnibus of New Mutants, and that'll start in the fall. So I'm just giving them a big plug because I'm about to kind of steal one of their shticks that they do on their show, because they always have a kind of a guest speaker, guest co-host every episode, and they do a rapid fire question period. And I wrote a few rapid fire questions for Hayden just to see what he would say. Well, let's just spice things up. And Dan, if you have any extras, please jump in after I'm done with a couple questions if you have them.
Thanks.
So, first up, who's the best X-Men leader in your opinion? And I know you haven't read everything, so just whatever you think.
I'm gonna go with Storm, because from what I've gotten on my minimal knowledge is that if she can do the thing without powers, I mean, that says a lot. So
it's a good point. Doesn't need superpowers.
It's anybody but Cyclops. Actually, that's my answer.
Man, people dog Cyclops so bad. Funny again. We were on, or I was in the chat on their finale of Omni X-Men, and people were just destroying Cyclops. Like, people hate Cyclops. You wonder why he's so sad all the time, other than the fact that Jean is always dying or something. You got just people just straight up hating. But I agree. Storm is the best leader. Do you know Blue Team, Gold Team? Do you know what that's about?
From Jim Lee's run? From
the
Adjectiveless? Yeah,
so basically the X-Men split into 2 teams. Blue Team was Cyclops. I'm going to butcher this now. Cyclops, Rogue, Gambit, Beast, Jubilee, and am I missing anybody? Oh, Psylocke. And then Gold Team. Gold Team was Colossus, Storm, Iceman, Archangel, Bishop, and Jean Grey. Blue Team or Gold Team?
Oh, it's got to be Blue Team. I mean,
really? Well, because you're a Wolverine.
Hold on, wait. Did you miss Wolverine? Did I miss?
Oh, I did. That's what I missed. Wolverine, Blue Team. So you picked them without even knowing Wolverine was on it.
So I know my girl Rogue's on it. So I mean,
all right,
I can't let her go unattended.
I gotta say, most people I don't know most people, but a lot of people prefer Blue Team. mainly because they're kind of that
Star power. I
they're
mean.
that animated series team for the most part.
Yeah.
They got Wolverine. Everybody loves Wolverine. But
Pitch the gold, Ryan.
dude, Gold Team, and I know I'm biased because Colossus on it, but think about the power segment on Gold Team. They got Storm, first off, Omega, Iceman, Omega. Then they got Jean Grey, Omega, and then they got Colossus, who's amazing. Archangel, I like Archangel, but he's a lot better than Angel. And then they got Bishop. Like, come on, that's an insane team.
It's all about the cool factor. Man.
I'm not saying if they went up against each other. I mean, that's a different story.
Yeah, it's who looks cool in the malt shop.
Yeah, I get it. It's form over function. All right.
Exactly.
We already covered it. Favorite artist, you said Jim Lee.
Cool,
I
cool.
think you're sticking with that.
Favorite X-Men
I
writer.
think I know where you're gonna go with this, but we'll see. Maybe you won't. Who's stronger, Colossus or Rogue?
You only get one shot right here.
Who should I pick?
Don't screw this up.
I gotta go. I mean, if I can point out one thing of recent time, is if you go just watch the clips of Rogue and the X-Men 97 series, they went above and beyond with the animation, just with her to show how strong she actually is. That absolutely just changed my perspective on, I mean, the Molly Whopping she can put on just about anybody.
Look how tight Ryan's lips are right now.
I'm sorry, we lost Hayden.
But I will say this: if they were to arm wrestle, though, I would give it to Colossus. How about that?
It's because she can fly. She has she's getting this leverage. If Colossus could fly,
yeah.
I mean,
to be honest, I actually think that John and Justin actually usually ask the question, who would win in an arm wrestle? So yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
I think that's my answer is Colossus then.
I think Colossus is stronger, but Rogue has the flight, right? So it's anyways. That's my opinion.
That's like Colossus's thing. You can't take that away. You can't dethrone the man. Like, just
I know. Well, he's got invulnerability too, so
I guess.
There's
that.
All right. I'm guessing I'll know the answer to this, but best age of X-Men comics. And I mean, you could just go off of covers, you can go off of whatever you think, but what do you think is the best age of X-Men comics?
I mean, personally, I think the best age is probably, from the start of the Chris Claremont run. I mean, I wouldn't have
no
any
pressure.
Stuff
You don't.
No.
You don't have to do this.
I mean, we wouldn't have anything that we are talking about now. All the X-Men stuff from the 90s and early 2000s. We wouldn't really have any of that. The foundation wasn't built. So, I mean, 100% it's got to be Claremont from the beginning.
A friend in Buffalo, Christopher, thinks it's the Copper Age. That's not a bad answer. There's you get a lot of Jim Lee and Copper, man. And like people like always talk about Jim Lee like 1 to 11 adjectiveless X-Men, but he's got some bangers before that on Uncanny, where he's the one who drew Psylocke as the new Revanche, Asian ninja version of her, and like some great covers with her.
His first work with that Colossus cover. His first issue on it. That's a great one.
No, yeah, he made Psylocke, who she is for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we got age. So all right, I think you already said your best X-Men movie. Oh man, last one I got. Storm should be with T'Challa or Forge.
Ooh, little drama here.
I'm not gonna lie, I really do like when she's with T'Challa, Black Panther. From what I've seen of when them together in the comics, and I think Black Panther actually loses the mantle at some point when they're together. I think it just makes sense. I feel like that just makes sense.
Oh, I love that dynamic though. Like, yeah. They're so different.
They're both great options. I guess I probably would lean Forge just because she's a mutant. He's a mutant. They're part of the X-Men mutant world. T'Challa just kind of takes Storm away from that, and then I mean she's from Africa, he's from Africa. It makes a lot of sense there too. But kind of pulls Storm out of her like usual orbit, her usual place. So
But she's,
That's
always,
what it's all about, stepping out of your comfort zone.
sure,
You
sure.
know,
and
like
she's
you
always
what
been a
you
queen
want.
though, right? She's always been the that's kind of her rightful place in a way. So
And we've got a few peoples. We got some Forge votes here. Bruce, Christopher, but then you see he's saying T'Challa, so is Flo Wolf, and then Eric's just up for single and ready to mingle Storm,
hey now,
which is all right too.
she's in an all right place. Yeah.
All right, Dan, do you have any good?
Good? No.
I'll throw it to the chat too. Does the chat want to throw in?
Yeah. Rapid fire questions.
Fire questions for Hayden, for us, for us all. We'll all weigh in on these.
Okay. Quick thoughts, Jubilee. Like one sentence.
She's cool, I guess.
I'll accept. That is good. That is good.
I'll go with one word.
I think it's a little tacky to have your name on your earrings, but I mean,
I'll go with one word.
You're
Lame.
a Morlock. Oh, what? Go. Sorry, Ryan.
Lame. That's all I gotta say.
All right, you're a Morlock in the sewer. What's your mutant ability or defect, if you will?
Oh, that's a good question. So it's got to be
one that's...
It's got to be like something you don't want, but then it could also be like a power.
It could be powerful, but you don't want, like nobody would want
or
that.
A pairing of a power with a something, a mutation you don't like.
Yeah, if you want to, more zero it in. Wrong. You're a rat now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe...
No. Take your time.
Could eat anything.
I don't know why. It's maybe something where like whenever you touch somebody, you can see the future, but you can't like do anything about it.
Interesting.
Okay.
I'm thinking. I'm in the mental, psyche telepath mindset. So
because then like you're kind of tortured by like what's coming, and you can't tell somebody like, or they don't want to hear what's coming up. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Somebody would pick you up on it.
Then you need a mutation. You need a mutation of like, fugly face or something.
Yeah. It's like heads on backwards type deal.
That's good. Well, let's get into the items that.
Okay. Well, I want to just get the chat in. So the chat dropped a couple.
Yeah, come on, Dan.
Okay, so Bruce is asking favorite X-Men book, any age. What's your favorite X-Men book? And if that spoils something that you got with us today, just
No. How about I'll do one that I mean, obviously I would love to have a Giant Says X-Men. I do not. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my favorite one I have right now is actually from Dan. Just because I love looking at it every time, and that's this first Cable up here.
Nice.
I just one of those covers that it's so front and center. I can see it from across the room. I just love looking at it every time. So I'll just say personally, the one that I have right now is probably that.
Nice.
I remember that copy too, like super vibrant, like reddish orange.
Nice.
Like,
Yes, it's very, very potent red.
Because the orange can be a little bit subdued on some of those books for sure.
Yeah, not that one.
It's nice when you get one that's vibrant. For me, it's GSX one, so I totally agree with what you're saying, and I'm pretty sure Dan's probably in the same boat.
Yeah, it's just a great story. You can just read that and be like, that was fun, and then just put it down. Like if you're not an X-Men fan, like it's a fun read, team get together,
And then Travis wants to know, we're not in the sewers, we're not the Morlocks anymore. What's one power set? If you could have it, what would it be?
Honestly, I mean, just like in this world that we're in now, not the Marvel universe, I would love to time travel. A lot of people like it's so taboo, but like I would have such a fun time with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd get rich off that.
Yeah, I know
Damn.
that.
Do that.
Hayden, both your answers, both tortured by time and you're benefiting from
Every time you
Yeah.
time travel, you age up, shortening your life. That's the Morlock. Well, I guess.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, maybe I don't know. I guess you don't
Or
have.
like,
to be-
the one that I thought about.
So you're old now.
Yeah, you can time travel back in time, but you don't age. But you have to wherever you travel back to, you have to live to that entire time. That is.
Oh,
So like,
yeah.
if let's say like, oh, okay, I want to go see. Yeah, I
So
want to
it's
go.
basically a one-time go, or you
Right.
can just keep going back and then like living a little bit and then going further back.
Yeah, but
you
you
would.
don't age. It's one of those things. Like, all right,
You
I'm gonna go
can
back
never
and see
get
the
back
pyramids.
to where you were unless you live all the way.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Brutal.
And that's crazy. That's a crazy thing to think about. All right. Oh, we got one more. Favorite Jim Lee cover.
I would say no. Well, my favorite cover is actually not on an X-Men title. It's actually the Punisher War Journal with Wolverine's on the front. It's like number 6, I believe.
Very cool.
I think that's
Yep.
my favorite
That's a good one.
by far. But X title, it's got to be this one right here.
11.
Very
Nice.
cool.
It's got everybody on it. I mean, what
Great
what could we
shirt.
not love about that?
Great shirt, great cover, great book. Love it.
Yep. JP
You know what
is
you gotta get, Hayden? You gotta get a Pressman variant 11. Do you know what that is? That's
oh
so there was a variant to X-Men 11. I think Dan's gonna pull one out. It came as part of a X-Men board game, and it's silver background, and it's more rare. It's and hard to get high grade.
That's right. I remember whenever you did your unboxing of it, and it came back like a.
I have
7
this one that looks so good, and I can't figure out for the life of me what's wrong with it because it was a 7, and I pressed it and cleaned it and sent it back, and I got a 7.5.
and there was no notes.
And the notes are shit. Like I shouldn't be swearing on my channel, but they're like it says there's like indents or like creases to the back cover, and I'm like, what? I pressed the crap out of this thing. Like, I don't get it.
That's only a 7.5. Just send it
I'm
my
wondering
way.
if there's like micro scratches or something, and they're just not putting them on the notes. Anyways, I could go on and
it's
on.
a frustration of Ryan's ongoing.
The grader's girlfriend dumped him the night before. I mean,
It's a great book. I wonder if I should just keep putting it through and see if I can just get lucky one time and just wash my hands of it.
But the rarest of the Pressmans, right? That's the that one with can't remember what number, like 292 or something, and it's
that Jubilee one with that
Jubilee, and it says like the end something in red. I can't remember exactly.
Like crying, somebody's holding her or something.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah. There's
not a good cover, but like super like that one's the hardest one to find.
And I think it's like a metallic bronzy color.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't have that one.
No.
All right. I think we're talking books. Let's get to showing some books. I will bring Hayden to the
forefront here.
And so guys watching as you know, with any of my lives, whether it's X-Men Collector Chat or on the Council of X, always ask everyone to bring a certain assignment of X-Men books to show off, to talk about. So tonight's theme is 5 X-Men books that are sneaky cool. And by sneaky cool, I mean, people aren't talking about them, but there's just something about it that you think is pretty cool, whether it's the cover art, something to do with the story, it could be an ad on the back page, whatever it is. Tell us why you think this book is sneaky cool. And Hayden, let's see some books.
All right. Well, first up, just in light of it just coming around the corner. I brought a Deadpool book here. The second appearance of Deadpool. I personally think that this is the most underrated second appearance probably in all of comic books. I mean, I've constantly found this book for, $2 consistently. And I did a little research to find, I'm like, maybe it's just second appearances, why it's so cheap. It is not. And a couple other books that I found that are more expensive than this would be Vengeance 2. That's the first appearance of America Chavez, which I like to think Deadpool's more popular than. Avengers 227. That's the second Monica Rambeau as Captain Marvel. Once again, I think I'm taking this book over that. We have Amazing Fantasy 2 from 2004, which it's the first appearance or second appearance of Ariana. I'm not sure. I think she might have been in the Madam Web movie. Not entirely sure. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 3, Number 9. First, Gwen Stacy is Spider-Woman, I guess. Once again, I mean, I'm gonna take this one. And I guess it's Liefeld. I mean, print count. I know print count has something to do with it, but it's just one of those things where, I mean, this man has video games. He's about to have his third movie. I mean, he's massive.
It's a great point.
I mean, it's just I think it's crazy. There's plenty of other second appearances. Obviously, way more. I tried to stay from the '90s and up. But another '90s book that is 5 times more valuable. The second appearance of Carnage. I mean, I think this is absolutely wild that this book gets hated on so much. I mean, he's even on the cover. So
man, Liefeld and Cyclops, they're like in the same club, man. Everybody's just hating.
Jubilee, I think, has joined the club.
Well, that's true. Jubilee, but Jubilee deserves it.
Oh, come on.
She's so lame.
All right.
But I personally actually really like Rob Liefeld. There's a few. He's got a few like, whoa, what was he doing there?
Yeah, like his Captain America covers. Oh
yeah,
Lord, those are like, what were we thinking?
Cover is what the heck? But yeah. Anyways,
does he?
Rob Liefeld, creator of Deadpool and Cable.
You got to give him more respect.
A little respect.
Put some respect on Rob's name.
On those feet. Yeah.
But the second book up here is X-Men Adventures number 1. And it's actually on the interior. So for the uninitiated, like myself until recently, if you just go online, it's just, the first appearance of Moore from the animated series. But little do you guys know, which I'm sure a lot of people here know, he does not appear as we all think he does. Is actually his normal looking self opposed to his featureless form. So
well, in the original animated cartoon, he didn't have that featureless form. That's a new thing that they gave him
just for X-Men 97.
For X-Men 97 to make him
he is more handsome though than he was in the show, I feel.
But yeah,
right.
so but it makes sense. Like what Morph could have always just like used that as his like regular form. But yeah, if as a change,
I would look like Brad Pitt all the time if I could.
Exactly right.
And I like the sneaky. He was sneaking over the fence. So
and then right after that, he tries to
be very sneaky.
I like that.
Very sneaky.
Yes. This is another book that I picked up just on Whatnot, $2, and then I actually figured out it was actually lots of key sentences. We have Spider-Man versus Wolverine, where
that book.
Yeah. So if you don't know, Spider-Man may have accidentally killed Wolverine's girlfriend in this book. They try to draw it up as it was her committing suicide because she wanted to die in the story. But I mean that's murder. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, I think.
But it's just another case where Wolverine just, that man can't find love. I mean, he tries and tries and tries, but they just never stick around.
Tragic.
There's like kind of like a low key significance to that book, and I think it might be like the first time Wolverine kills somebody.
Oh yes, Spider-Man kills somebody. I think it's like the
Spider-Man kills somebody. Yeah.
I think Spider-Man punches her
I
on
think also
accident.
it's like the death of like Ned Leeds or something. I'm not sure. Like another just like minor.
That's a
key
cool
in
book,
there.
though. I definitely would love to get that book at some point.
I know, and the cover's really great too. Who did
Yeah,
Yeah,
great
it is.
book. Do you know who did the artwork on that? Is there a signature?
I think it says it on the interior. Might as well just open her up and take a look. Unless someone in the chat knows first.
I'm not sure.
We have.
Weigh in chat if you know who did the artwork on the cover of that Spider-Man Wolverine book.
Eric making fun of.
I'm not sure.
Love for
Here's the lineup we have in there.
Yeah, I want to say that the
Right.
cover is different. We got
Cover, yeah, you never know with the cover.
Well,
Well, something to look up later on.
all right. And this next book, I mean, we already talked about it, but I mean, it's pretty amazing cover. I mean, I have it on my shirt. I mean, I like it so much I had to get 2 copies. But that's not why I'm talking about it, not the cover. It is actually, I think that this probably has one of the best full-page spreads out of any, I mean, comic book period, which is this spread right here with the whole team.
Nice.
With the celebration, Wolverine with the cigar, Jubilee. And a really cool thing that I did not know until, because whenever I opened this up and was looking through it, they actually recreated this in the show at the end of the first episode. This photo, which I have it on. I can pull up
on
the side by.
X-Men
Wow.
87?
Yeah, I have it right here. I can see if
Oh, that's very sneaky.
yeah. So then this was the shot in the show.
Oh yeah, they
Oh
did.
yeah, totally. Jubilee with the soda.
Love
Wolverine
it.
with the Lego.
Wolverine's not smoking a cigar in this one, and it
No.
obviously has a little different cast, but
They pulled that.
Disney, baby. Actually, all of Marvel, like they don't show smoking anymore at all.
you never know. They might be lenient. They might give Wolverine an e-cigarette or something.
A bait. There's a great that rule from Marvel, no smoking and stuff came down when during Grant Morrison's New X-Men days, and there's this amazing cover art for a cover that I don't remember the issue, but it was what was gonna be the cover art for this one issue of New X-Men with Wolverine just with a cigar, and it's so dope. And it's only the like sketches you can find the inks basically online. But yeah, that would have been the last. That was like the last smoking cover ever, but it didn't. That one didn't even make it in. I'd love to find out what the last cigarette or cigar cover ever done by Marvel. That'd be.
I mean, if there's one character that could be allowed to do it, I mean, it's the man that will never get.
Oh, I agree.
Cancer. I mean,
it was part of his persona. Wolverine smoking cigars or the Thing, those two were like synonymous with having a big stogie.
But I mean, Kingpin. Are we talking just heroes? Like Kingpin's like synonymous with.
Yeah, Kingpin too. Yeah. Those three, and then Howard the Duck.
Word.
All right, and the last book here, this one I thought was just, I don't know, it was just funny whenever I was going through and reading it. So we have the first appearance of the New Mutants here. Favorite New Mutant is just artistically speaking. I mean, Sunspot, I just feel like artistically this looks awesome.
For sure.
But my favorite thing is whenever Mirage, they're fighting these, 1A, 1B grunts, and she tries to, project what they fear most. And I thought it was so funny what they feared most was Wolverine.
That is
because then cool. Once I saw that, because they would talk about, oh, we're not afraid of you because we went up against this Wolverine guy and we got cybernetically enhanced. So once I read that, I immediately ran over. I'm like, wait a minute. That awfully reminds me of this cover right here.
Those are those guys. Those are the Hellfire guys. Nice.
So
that's awesome.
That's great.
And then I have one bonus comic here that is actually my parents' favorite, I guess you could say, X-Men cover comic. Is actually me as a child is Wolverine.
Oh, that's
Oh
awesome.
my goodness.
This is it was funny that I was walking downstairs and then obviously all the pictures of everybody. And then this one's just randomly in there. Apparently it was at some science exhibit that I don't really remember, but
That
yeah,
is so cool.
That's great.
So
Good memory. That's awesome.
yeah.
Wow.
That's
Bravo, man. That was a hell of a
Well done.
presentation for the sneaky.
The sneaky book.
Yeah.
Don't make me
Little
go
did
after
you know, I'm
you.
actually on a cover of X-Men.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
one
that every pick was actually sneaky. Like I was just like,
CGC count is 1.
that is yeah, that's amazing. All right, well
Yeah.
let's just do this.
Let's do this.
All right. Well, okay. The Magic miniseries. It's four issue miniseries. I can't find the fourth one, but
I don't have any of those.
I mean, so this like takes place. Here, I'll just keep holding. It takes place. I have the 3 anyway. Around like the 160 issue.
The Blasco issue, yeah.
Yeah, and really like it's where Ilyana Rasputin as a child becomes magic in a way.
Yeah.
It grows up, right? And she lives in limbo. A storm helps her.
Kitty's in there too.
Channel her power. There's so much frustration and emotion in it. It's a wonderful mini series, 4 issues. Highly recommended. I think you can probably pick up the set. $10, $20 probably in lower condition.
What's cool about it is the original X-Men issue. They go into limbo and they fight this demon Belasco who like wants to. He kidnaps a young child, Ilyana, and by the time the issue's done and the X-Men get back out of limbo and Ilyana gets trapped there, and she comes back in the same issue as basically a teenager. She gets aged up in one issue, but then this story is the 4-issue story of everything that happened to her, how she grew up, all her time spent in limbo. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool story.
Yeah, definitely. This one probably, I'm sure everybody already knows, but I always thought it was really cool about all of the first issues having the centerfold, and that the gatefold version has the wraparound cover, but also all 4 centerfolds in the center. Probably knew that. Another thing that I always like, I didn't, or I just realized that when I was a kid, I like, as cool as the Magneto one is, I never liked buying villain covers or, it's just all about the good guys, like the same thing with my action figures. I would only want the heroes, except for maybe one villain to beat up on, right? So then you have but then I was surprised to hear that like everybody was into this cover, like, a couple of years ago. They're like, it's all about this, right?
Yeah.
Well, nobody mentions it, but the reason is because this is the swimsuit issue, in the cover. Yeah, okay, it's awesome, Magneto and all of his glory, but we all know, you pervs, why this was the most popular one. Let's just take a look, shall we? One last time.
That's a great point, but that cover is like so cool.
No, it's really cool.
I think it's the best Magneto cover ever.
Man, dude, the art and Jim Lee's art in this issue, like
bonkers. That one right there.
This one in the sewers right here. I mean, I think that they covered like so many Marvel issues in the 90s cover swiped, or I mean, like panel swiped. So many of these panels from this. I think like Cartoonist Kate did a video about that or something. Somebody
there it is.
Oh yeah.
famous swimsuit.
Show that off any chance I get.
Just rocking banana hammock.
Oh baby. All right. Here's another thing that I think is, I guess, like us X-Men fans really enjoy them, but the X-Men, the classic X-Men issues, like pretty much all of them, all the way. I didn't know how far this went with the back cover. They always have some back cover art instead of like an ad. And I checked all of them, as far as I know, like up to 37 or at least 36. That's the highest issue that I have. And then I have a 38 or 39, and there's an ad. So like, I mean, you get 30 plus issues of back cover art, and it's a bonus. So this one is the famous Dazzler issue.
Bruce is gonna swoon over that
oh baby
splash page.
And like the end, so you get the great John Byrne art, and basically the exact same story. And then at the end, you get 8 pages or 6 pages or whatever of a bonus story of kind of what was happening meanwhile with other characters, giving you a little like glimpse. Another artist does the art, and they kind of give you a glimpse into what else is happening around that time. So it's really like a great. You can get each issue for like a couple of bucks, right? So that'd be a fun one to collect.
When I was digging, I have a handful of classic X-Men ones, but I seem to not have the best covers, so I didn't pick any. But I was thinking the same thing. Like, there's some really good classic X-Men covers. Like Art Adams just went ham on those, and they're really, really, really good. I have the one. So Hayden, you were showing the Wolverine versus the Hellfire team, and how that issue. So that issue, the cover's so good on that one. The classic one's not as good, but it is really good because it's a black cover, and it's just like a different angle of him fighting those guys off. I have that one. I was thinking about pulling that, but
oh, cool. Yeah, I always tuck in my the runs that I don't access the most away, but I do have that one.
I have a short box I just have that says mutant related, and it's all my like regular run X-Men books, or like annuals and Wolverine books and stuff like that, all through there. It's like it's a fun box to go through because it's just a bunch of random stuff that I don't look at all the time.
For sure. No, yeah, I got my mixed box here. Okay, here's another issue. That say what?
Sad Clops.
Oh yeah, you gotta have them. Okay, so what I like about this one is specifically this issue, and then I have something else that's in here that will, come up as well. What up, Trav? What do you say?
He's taking off. He's got to get back to work.
Oh, word. All right, take care, bro.
Dan, thanks for stopping in.
Okay, so what do I love about this issue? It's the inner panel. The emotion that you can get out of the John Byrne facial expression arts, and the shiftiness between Jean Grey being possessed by the Phoenix and then coming back to her, her own fighting off the Phoenix to become Jean Grey, and rationalize with Wolverine here about, kill me now while I can still hold back the Phoenix, stab me. It hesitates for just that one moment, and it's too late, and she changed. And just look at the switch of emotion. And then there's down here we have just like demonic facial expressions here.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then she battles with look at her confusion.
He captured the two sides so well.
Yes. Yeah, and the same person. Oh, okay. So here's the other part about this. The ads. I love the. These are my favorite ads. The hostess. So in this one, let me take a little better care of this comic here. Hold on.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're really
like bending it over. Yeah,
you're rolling that over, buddy.
I got a few of these.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reader copy.
So in this one, I can't really like read it, but basically, okay. So basically, it is the roller disco devils. All they're doing is just rolling down the street playing music.
Are
And
they like
everybody's
a
terrified.
roller skating gang?
Well, they're just have they're saying yeah yeah baby wow wow, and
Okay,
there's music playing. They got the boom boxes over their shoulders. They're having a good time. These kids are like, we can't go outside to buy our Hostess fruit pies. And then the Hulk's like, Hulk not like loud noise. He rolls them up in cement. They're crushed,
murders them.
murders them. Yay! Now we can have Hostess fruit pies, and now the streets are safe and quiet. That is
Meanwhile, these guys are squished in asphalt.
three delicious flavors, though.
Those meddling kids.
Three delicious flavors.
That's hilarious.
And then another thing that I love. It's not in this book, sorry, but those little like the Mile High Comics price stuff in the center folds, or like the yellow page, and it's just so fun to check out those old prices on depending on the time. And also what's really fascinating for me is like what we saw as keys back then, that like some key may be more expensive than another key, and then now how like the value has flip-flopped with a lot of those. Just really fascinating.
Yeah, every single time I look at those, I always go to see how much a giant size X-Men cost back then. I always go and look at that. I'm like, oh, what were people thinking?
Yeah, totally. Right. And so like not only was it like so cheap, but like to see that, X-Men 94 was the more valuable book then.
Mm-hmm.
And like X-Men 101 didn't really have any more value than the next issue.
If I'm time traveling, like
yeah,
I'm going back. I'm getting all these books off the rack, man.
Yeah, I don't care if I have to wait 40 more years.
Yeah.
Or God, 60, right?
My number one thing I think about that is like, all right, if I get back there, they're going to look at my bills funny. Like I thought through the whole, like if I go back and just pick up a stack off the rack of like X-Men 1s or AF-15s, like how could I place them and then travel back to the future to where no one picks them up or whatever? I think about that scenario all the time.
Well, you know what could happen is they might people might think they're actually like really good forgeries.
Yeah,
the paper will not be aged. So if you did like a forensic analysis of the books, they'll literally be just printed, and then people will be like, I don't know how you did it, but these are not legit AF-15s or GSX-1s or whatever, right? Because they're not actually aged.
I'd have to like do like a time capsule situation, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Very smart man. Hayden's got this all figured out, folks. That's a really good idea.
You can make like a whole series about this. You go back, and then it's like they're gone. What happened to them? Then you got to go back. Investigate.
Then, if you think about it too much and you think about the butterfly effect, I'm like, oh, what if I took the whatever this guy's what X-Men 1? What happens? So I'm like, you gotta think about, you gotta go to the ones that were in the trash that someone's mom was about to throw away.
Jim Lee didn't pick up that one issue of X-Men whatever 140 or something like that, and then he doesn't get inspired to go on to be a legendary comic book artist. Oh, the man, that's so we're blowing minds here tonight.
All right, here's my item. Well, first of all, one of my favorite items is the X-Men trade little
the corn bus. Okay, so just before you keep going, Dan, I asked the guys to each bring, also in addition to their comic books, one X-Men adjacent collectible that's not comics, to just show up.
But Hayden's counts for.
But I have another one for that.
Oh, okay. I thought that was your item. Holy smokes!
I mean, technically that one kind of is a comic, right? I mean,
we'll come back. We'll come back to you, Hayden, for that. No worries.
But yeah, just this awesome like little hang up on the wall. Issue 141. Awesome. Love that. All right. So HeroClix. I This is what got me, or I was into X-Men around. I mean, like I said, when the X-Men movie came out in like 2000 something, and so I think I bought this like around that time. And starter set, opened the packs. You got your grid set. You can choose your terrain, skill sets of all of the heroes. And then they're all like Marvel characters. So like here's, we were talking about Kingpin, got Daredevil, Wolverine, or sorry, this is Cyclops. You got your Wolverine. You got your Mojo. So I love these little figurines, very Dungeons and Dragons style battle. Choose your characters. Oh, and then the Sentinel hero click. And like they all have this little ring around them that you spin. Board game, a game takes like 6 hours. Like it's hefty, and I only played like a couple of times, but like maybe 4 or 5 times. And it's like it was so much fun though. And the figurines, probably spent too much money on that when I was younger, but it was a lot of fun. Still really enjoy it.
Always worth it.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's it.
All right. Hayden, why don't you show us your collectible?
All right. So I know a lot of people, they got into comic books or whatever through the Marvel trading cards. But obviously, being born in the 2000s, I didn't have like the series, those series when I was growing up. But I recently found this box that, re-jogged a memory that I did have some Marvel trading cards. And they're from 2006 from Scholastic. And they are the Marvel Superheroes Collectors Club. They came in the mail. And I have a bunch here that I can showcase. But, so here's one. There's Nightcrawler here. And the fun thing about this set is that this game, whenever it was mailed out, didn't come with the rules. So no one knows how to play this game because it got axed immediately after just the one set. So no one knows how to play these games. So basically there's just a bunch of cards. So this is how I actually learned a lot of my like X knowledge and Marvel characters.
Nice.
But let me fast forward here. We got Wolverine, and there's only one holographic card, which of course I lost it. It was like a Ultimate Wolverine from the Ultimate Universe. Him with the cowboy hat on, I believe. And then here you go.
Nice. Oh, cool. That's from that art's from there's a Colossus miniseries. I forget what it's called now. Actually, Travis gave me the whole set for an AOK.
Yeah, all the art on those cards are from something.
Yeah, that's from that same series too. Nice.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just a bunch in here, and then I can kind of go back and see the ones that are worn that I could tell are my favorite characters back then. Like, so this one, it's a Sabretooth that's bent in half. So that's how I was going through. I'm like, oh wow, I guess I really did like, like Wolverine or I like Namor, for example. He's absolutely destroyed. But yeah, and then it came with this playmat here. So if anyone online wants to make up some rules, and then I don't know how many people of these sets even last. There's battle points or something.
Oh wow, you got the board and everything.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what any of this stuff means on here?
They sent out a game with no rules. Just like
it's like it gets crazy to
like sell these, we'll make money.
The crazy part was I have memories of playing these with my dad. So he must have been making it up on the fly because I remember playing a game with this. So who knows?
Oh, what a great dad.
But there's my additional item. So sorry to all those completionist card collectors out there. Now you have to go buy a no value Scholastic pack, which I think they're online. You can get the whole thing for maybe $20.
Probably eBay. That's fun. I've never seen that before, so that's cool.
Nor have I.
All right, so I got my books. Start in the Silver Age, and so this book, I think people like this cover, but I don't think it ever really gets talked about much because this came out shortly after X-Men 50, the second appearance of Polaris, the legendary Steranko cover, and this book has some similarities to it in terms of color and the way the characters. I actually forgot who that is. It might be the Living Monolith. Might have something to do with it. I don't know.
That was around that.
I think this is the issue before, but this cover is so dope, and it's got that classic Silver Age kind of Kirby Crackle sort of cosmic look to it, and the greens pop so nicely. This is Barry Windsor Smith, actually.
Oh,
but I just think this is a sneaky cool cover that people don't really talk about from the Silver Age. It doesn't really have any significance, and it kind of comes on the heels of X-Men 50, which is the big book around that time, or those numbers of the series. So
what issue number was that?
That is X-Men 55. So 5 issues after 50.
I have to write that one down.
All right. So another sneaky cool, and this is kind of like this was my favorite, well, maybe not my favorite, but one of my favorite pulls from this section of X-Men. The reprints that went from issue 67 to 93, I believe that's correct. Or 67, 66, 67, can't remember. But as you know, so during that time, X-Men original stories were basically canceled, and they were doing reprints of the previous 1 to 66 issues, and basically just kind of reimagined covers and maybe doubling up a few issues in certain issues, like this one, which is X-Men 69. And this whole run is kind of sneaky, like people kind of dismiss it because they're reprints, but really sneaky cool covers. And this one is there's 2 issues actually in this one, and this reprints issue number 19, which was the first appearance of Mimic, a really cool cover, and then also the third appearance of the Sentinels, X-Men 16. So both of these issues are in this one, but like I just love like the new cover, just a different view of this battle between the X-Men and Mimic. It's really dynamic, and it's still got that Silver Age, you know, even though it's 25 cents. Well, it was a double issue, but this is in the 15 cents era, but still just a really dope Silver Age looking book. But yeah, these reprints are all like really sneaky cool.
Looks like that's in really nice condition too, right?
Yeah, this is like a 9. This is like a 9.0. Yeah, this is a really, really good one. So really love those books. All right, then I got I got a few more than 5, so I'll just show them all. Why not? Yeah. So this is Marvel Comics Presents number 10, and I'm pretty sure this is the first cover appearance of the Fastball Special, which is sneaky cool. Nobody talks about this, but it's the Fastball.
No, they don't.
Everybody loves the Fastball Special, and I don't think that it was ever on a cover before this issue. If there is, please let me know because I want that book. But this is just a sneaky cool cover, sneaky cool, significant.
Yeah, did not know that.
And this also kicks off a little run in Marvel Comics Presents that does a Colossus story. So like the next like 7 or 8 issues are all Colossus issues. I just pulled this one because it's cool. I mean, in terms of Sabretooth, Wolverine face-off covers. I mean, this is not one that you see very often, and I just think it's like really cool. The angles and the artwork's just really
It
cool.
reminds me of the cover of like the Marauders or what was it?
221.
Yeah, The one
Well,
where
that's the first. I think that's the first Saber 2. Oh no, there's the other one. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the close-up one.
Yes, I think it's in like two
Right around there.
213.
It's part of Mutant Massacre, yeah.
Yes, and just the way that they're able to fit so much into such a close-up shot is really cool. So
Yeah.
I dig it. Yeah.
I love how they're framing this other chick with the gun trying to kill mutants. Anyways, I just think that's a cool cover.
Yeah.
All right, so this is kind of a twofer. This is Uncanny X-Men 262 and 263. And this is a story about Forge and Banshee. They're searching for the X-Men, and they end up kind of in the ruins of the X Mansion and then into the tunnels of New York, the old Morlock tunnels, essentially. And they end up teaming up with Jean Grey somehow, and so it's like the three of them. But they run into an old foe, a villain, who I mean, I guess was part of the Morlocks, but was always kind of a real piece of S, and he's kind of this under talked about villain, and that's Mask. He's like a psycho, and his ability is to basically he could shapeshift people with his touch, and so he can turn you into any form he wants, and he's like basically transformed all these mutants and all these people into these like grotesque monstrosities, and he's got this whole like monster world going on down in the tunnels with like former Morlocks and other people that he's just come across that he's turned into these grotesqueries. Anyways, this is a cool 2-issue story, just kind of sneaky cool, where they're like up against a villain that I just think doesn't get talked about very often, but he's like actually like a crazy gross kind of awful villain that is in the X-Men comics.
Yeah, really cool pick.
And then finally, all this Jim Lee talk, I'm glad it came up because Jim Lee's right along with Byrne and Cockrum. Those are my holy three X-Men artists, and I brought X-Men 3 because so many of the covers in this 11 book Jim Lee run get talked about, and I feel like this one doesn't really get talked about, but it is so cool. Like, it's the entire team of X-Men, gold and blue, basically battling Danger Room style, and it's just so good. I think this one needs to get more hay. It's just a sneaky cool cover. Of course, Colossus looks awesome on it too, so that's always
we all know, yeah.
And I just think this is a great cover.
Wolverine doing his best Spider-Man cover impression, right?
Yeah, no, it's just so good. All right, so those are my sneaky cool picks, and then my collectible pick. I showed it in my room tour, but I don't think I've ever really like spotlighted it on my on any lives or on a video. So this is my signed picture of Colossus by the actor Stefan Kapicic, who voiced Colossus in Deadpool and Deadpool 2.
That is super.
And just a cool piece.
That is cool. Nice
That's
frame.
Such a great shot too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I bought the picture, and then I was like, okay, I need a silver frame for this, and I went and got
Yeah.
it.
Did he
That's
sign in
cool.
silver too?
Yeah.
No, it's signed in gold.
Oh.
Yeah. I would have actually liked silver, but silver might have blended too much. I don't know. But
Still cool.
Silver would have been kind of cool actually, but yeah, that's my collectible.
Right on.
All right. Well, we had a great show tonight.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hayden. Thank you for coming on. It was great chatting X-Men with you. Of course, we'll
For sure.
hopefully be seeing you on future council meetings with the council of
Is he in?
I think he's in. I think we're gonna give him give him membership.
I'll be there.
Nice. And yeah, the council's getting bigger and bigger. It's but
Oh, baby.
you know, of course I can only ever have 10 on at a time, but I mean it's not doesn't generally
Not everybody can make it, you know.
yeah, not everybody can make it, so it's actually good to have.
We've never had to not invite.
No, I think
we haven't had to go to blue and gold.
got a little close. It got close. I think it got close once. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think we've ever had to do that. So
You're gonna be putting that gavel to use.
For
yeah,
sure. Yeah. Order.
I'll just have to, yeah.
And thanks to the chat, huh?
Yeah, thanks to
everyone here, Troy, Eric, all the whole like the council.
The whole council was here,
Thin
but
Comics.
you know, we had Thin Comics, we had Richard Westfall as always, we had Christopher. Yeah, we had a bunch of guys in here tonight. So
Shout out to you guys. That was
great. Shout out to everyone.
Christopher Parker.
I'm looking for more. There's a few others. Yeah,
Jose
Gutierrez. Yeah, lots of great guys in tonight. So thank you everyone for participating, and making it a good chat as always. We really appreciate you watching and spending some time just listening to us jabber on.
We don't know what we're talking about.
Hayden, before we end up, I just want to give you a chance to plug anything you kind of got coming out on your channel, anything you want to talk about or announce, whatever. Now's your chance. What's going on at Next Gen Collector?
Yeah, new videos every Monday, 10 a.m. I'm trying to keep it there. My next video, I think I'm going to address what all this is. It's an addiction. I've been reflecting on, like, man, this is pretty addictive stuff we have going on here. So hopefully I can get that all together for Monday. And then this Sunday, I'm going to be co-hosting my first live stream with Thin Comics. We're going to be going over the Invincible series. Me and him spoke a lot. I sent him some single issues over to Finland because they don't really have a lot of single issues over there. But we're just going to go over discussing series stuff we like, characters, moments, try to stay spoiler free as much as we can for a very new thing in the show time. So it'll be at 4 p.m. Eastern and then 11 p.m. Eastern European summertime.
All right. Well, if you're into Invincible or you just want to hang out with the guys, be sure to tune into that.
And Hayden's been just crushing the videos recently, super creative, super funny. You bring so much energy to the videos, so it's just been. Thank you for bringing that to us because that's so much fun.
Yeah,
great
I'm just
channel.
Launching my music career. That's
oh yeah.
Bad.
So yeah, make sure that you're subbing to Hayden at the Next Gen Collector. There's links in the description below. And then my co-host Dan, what's going on? I think you got a little claimy sales going on.
Oh, hey, yeah, why not? Like, I'm so procrastinating. So I'm working toward, as some of you, if you know, I'm working toward getting like a Hulk 181 or a giant size X-Men, like, you know, mid to high grade, like looking for something that just really looks great to me. So building up those funds, selling all the stuff I don't want anymore, or I just, you know, can make room for, right? And $5 claim sale on my Instagram page tomorrow. Probably like, you know, we have to do some good stuff, you know, but, you know, whatever. No press. But so I've been procrastinating. It's tough. It's, you know, like it's tough to have the because I want these, right? I want them. It's a different thing, right? Selling than buying.
Yeah,
But,
it is
I
definitely.
got to think of the big picture, baby.
And
And,
if anyone out there needs a reference, I've bought plenty of books from Dan, and I'm telling you, his customer
Thank you,
service
Aiden.
is second to none. It doesn't get much better.
Appreciate you, buddy.
It's a good man.
but
It's
yeah,
a good man
thank
to
you.
buy from. So yeah, check out Dan's X-Men Comics on IG, and if you are looking to buy some books, he's great to buy from.
Or just, I like to post duplicates on the
Yep.
page. That's what I'm usually doing. Just
That too. And then you can always find them here on the X-Men Collector Stat
where I
with
started,
me, or on the Council of X. He's a regular, so you could get your Dan fix.
Your Dan fix. Yeah. Thanks.
on
Thanks, guys.
my channel. All right. So with that said, I'm going to shut her down. Thanks again to everybody for watching, and to you guys for being with me tonight. And until the next time, keep collecting.